we're talking home and away today. And, when Home and Away was on that break and came back last month, I really thought Home and Away was going to be a shoo-in for a top three for many months because some of the other soaps were struggling, and I've always enjoyed Home and Away's vibe, but it falls at number 6 here in March. And that's because there was basically one main story, and that was about it. I didn't really like any of the B, C, D stories. So we'll talk about the main story first and what might have worked and what didn't quite work. That was, of course, Mia, Ari, Chloe. Now, Ari had went to prison for confessing that he was the one that killed Mia's ex when it was really Chloe. He was taking the fall. But then we got this really rushed story, and Home and Away is very plot driven, so it's not surprising. And I'm not completely holding it against the show because this is what I would expect from Home and Away, honestly. But we get this really rushed story where Ari gets sick in prison, rushed to the hospital. Turns out he has a bunch of tumors. It's irreversible, and then he dies. And Ari and Mia got married while he was in the hospital before he died. So I guess they get that ending for their relationship. But I didn't like how rushed this was. If they knew Ari was dying, why not build this up throughout January? But I guess they had to get themselves out of the way they ended the cliffhanger at the end of 2021. So it was for Ari to take the fall because they knew he was probably going to be leaving the show. It kind of gives them an out for Chloe, for Mia and Chloe not telling the police the truth that it was Chloe that killed Mia's ex. So now the aftermath of this has been pretty good for the most part. I mean, we have Mia who's kind of out of it since Ari's death. She's gone through a lot these last few months. She was just the last episode I saw. I did not watch the last couple of episodes of March. I'm recording this before it will air. But Mia had walked into traffic just being dazed and out of it. So there was that. But Chloe's aftermath has been the more interesting part of the story. And really the only interesting part of the show is Chloe, she clearly has PTSD. We got that part of the story from killing her father to protect her mother. And she seems to have gotten this obsession with Bella and kind of stalking Bella in some ways. And Nick Howe and Bella have started to notice it to an extent, but there's even been some parts where Chloe's taking pictures of Bella while she sleeps, and she gets mad that Bella's not the one understanding her. So this is kind of been out of nowhere for me, but I find it interesting. It's at least engrossing at times and gives me the Home and Away vibe that I like. So this has been the story that at least saved Home and Away from dropping further in my rankings, because Nikau is pretty convinced that if Chloe is losing it every time, she's not getting Bella's full attention. So I've been enjoying that story. We'll see where they take Chloe in all of this aftermath, from killing her father to protect her mother. Now, the B, C, D stories ain't giving me much. We have Logan and Mackenzie. They've had a few problems as of late because of Logan's ex coming back to town, but there's also been problems since Ari's death because Mackenzie was with Ari for a while and she's taken the death very hard. And Logan thinks she was still in love with Ari. So, as far as I know, Logan's still leaving the show because of COVID mandate issues. So, I don't know. They need to just end this couple and move along, because I'm over it, honestly. I'm also kind of over Cash and Jasmine. They were having this whole will he not move in with her debacle. And, I do enjoy the character of Theo, and we're getting more from his past. He has a traumatic past. and Justin's been trying to help him through it. So that's been that part of the story. And as much as I like Theo, I just kind of wish that story was moving a little faster as well. Because, on one hand, we get that story with Ari move within like 2 weeks, where he's sick out of nowhere and dies. But they're taking their sweet, precious time with a lot of these other stories. I need them to start going places and give me the home and away that I like. I like my over-the-top, over-dramatic mess that Home and Away can provide a lot when it's really ramping up the drama with their plot-driven stories. But right now, a lot of them are moving slow, and the one that moved too fast I didn't like. So this is why Home and Away is in 6th place. It dropped from 3rd place. Just kidding. Dropped from 4th place and when it returned in February. And Home and Away will soon be Australia's only soap left when Neighbours goes off the air this summer. That will be sad. But I've always enjoyed Home and Away more of the two. But as you see, Neighbours has been higher in my rankings so far in 2022. So it will be tough losing Neighbours. Home and Away will hopefully fill that Australian soap opera void when Neighbours is gone. But for now, Home and Away is kind of lacking from where I would like it to be.